Broadly speaking, the most heavily traded agricultural commodities are typically those that are deeply woven into global supply chains, have diverse industrial uses, and undergo bouts of significant volatility. For the financial markets in general, high trading volumes basically equate to high liquidity, which effectively lowers the cost of entering and exiting trades and allows large institutions to move money efficiently. This high level of liquidity can also be very attractive to market participants engaged in hedging, that is, to lock in prices in anticipation of potentially higher future costs. And these participants may also speculate about the direction of prices more generally. In the United States, for example, the most heavily traded agricultural commodities by volume include corn, soybeans, wheat, live cattle, and lean hogs, while globally they also cover coffee, cocoa, cotton, and sugar, mainly given their importance to both industrial and consumer markets. But what makes these commodities so dominant on most of the major exchanges on which they trade? Well, it basically boils down to three key components, and those are global demand, economic significance, and price volatility. So now let's examine some of the key traded agricultural commodities in more detail. Now, let's take corn again, for example, which, as we addressed in our previous lesson, isn't only a farm food product. It's also used to produce industrial goods, such as biofuels, and serves as a key staple in products such as corn syrups and animal feed. Indeed, the demand for corn is incredibly massive, which in turn makes it a highly liquid and actively traded commodity. For instance, companies across diverse sectors use corn as a manufacturing input, such as food and beverage giants Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, or agribusiness company Cargill, which might use it for ethanol, corn oil, starches, and other products, as well as Procter & Gamble, DuPont, many others. Similarly, soybeans are commodities that are also widely consumed and can play vital roles in everything from cooking oil to livestock feed. And soybeans have historically seen significant imports into countries like China. In 2024, for example, China imported a record of more than 105 million metric tons of soybeans. This was an increase of 6.5% over the prior year. And according to Grain News, this was mainly driven, among other reasons, by factors such as a fall in prices and strategic stockpiling ahead of anticipated trade tensions with the US. Now let's take a look at wheat, another key traded soft commodity, where liquidity stems from the demand of several large countries' economies, commonly using the staple in their food supplies, including for bread, pasta, cereals, and other wheat-based products. In terms of industry, major US-based global agribusiness companies like Archer Daniels Midland, or ADM, and Bunge can be financially affected by wheat prices, as well as consumer staples companies like General Mills and Kellogg's that manufacture wheat-based products, among many other firms. Meanwhile, livestock commodities like live cattle and lean hogs are essential to the meat industry. And since they're sensitive to factors like feed costs, disease outbreaks, and consumer demand, all of which may impact prices, they typically attract speculative trading. Not as obvious, but these commodities are also used in many industrial goods, further accounting for their high volume trading activity. For example, the bones, horns, and/or hooves from live cattle are used to produce products like piano keys, buttons, and certain glues, as well as in pharmaceuticals like insulin, cortisone, and heart valve replacements, while lean hogs are used in industrial applications like certain cosmetics, plastics, floor waxes, and insecticides. Live cattle are also responsible for many goods in the textiles industry, such as leather to make coats, belts, shoes, and furniture, the use of tallow to produce conditioners and fabric softeners, as well as gelatin that's used for coatings and finishing, and much more. On the global trading front, cocoa, the mainstay ingredient in chocolate, is also used to produce items such as chocolate-scented candles, cocoa butter, and cocoa oil, which can be used in the fragrance and skincare industries. The commodity also naturally sees high demand from food producers such as Hershey, Mondelez, Mars Wrigley, and Nestle, among others. There's also cotton, which is most widely traded as the US number 2 cotton contract, and we'll be exploring more about futures contracts in a later lesson. But for now, cotton is generally used by producers, the textile industry, and market speculators. The commodity is heavily imported globally, including by countries such as the US, China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. Then there's coffee and sugar, with sugar number 11, or raw sugar, as the most widely traded futures contract. These are grown primarily in emerging markets and consumed worldwide, which makes them prime targets for international trading activity. These products also tend to be seasonal, and their prices can be highly impacted by weather, disease, geopolitical instability, and shifting trade policies, the potential for any and all of which to add to their trading volume, as well as volatility. We'll also be diving more deeply into some of the major risks to agricultural commodities in a later lesson. For now, we can say that catalysts like droughts, floods, and government policy changes can trigger price swings in the agricultural commodities markets, while the ensuing volatility can create opportunities for traders on the one hand and risks for producers and consumers alike on the other, which is where hedging strategies can become critical. In our next lesson, we'll explore how futures contracts work and what traders and investors typically look for when analyzing them. Come on back.